What's up, all you rats? Are you ready to get fit? Alright! Otomeki Kakumei 𝓤𝓷𝓭 𝓣𝓱𝓸𝓾 for the weebs not willing to put in the effort. Originally, it was released in 2006 for the PlayStation 2, developed and published by 𝓔𝓷𝓭 and Intertown respectively. Now, being the poor gudgeon we are, we're going to shift focus to the Nintendo DS port of this game, as it's the only port with a full English translation and me no speak Japanese. This port was published by gung-ho Works. They're known for some cool stuff, I guess, like this 𝓤𝓷𝓬𝓸𝓾𝓰 game, 𝓤𝓹𝓬𝓬𝓸𝓼, and whatever 𝓤𝓷𝓭 Online 2 is. I don't know, I don't play video games. Now, as a preface, I've already played this game before years ago. I originally went for Soda's route because he's the easiest character and I was honestly too stupid to figure out the mechanics. Then, recently, I beat Ren's route because, let's be honest, look at this man, he's beautiful, he's a rich bitch, and he wants to be your best self. There's no fatties, uggos, or dumbos on Ren's ride. Now, while I was playing Ren's route, you got this chick, she's really fucking mean to you, she's calling you fat all the time, but sticks and stones, bitch. But then, she calls you dirty poor. And that requires a response, that requires retaliation. How do you retaliate? Simple. Cuck the bitch. You gotta cuck the bitch. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, come on. This is the end game. It introduces you to the general plot. That being you. You used to be a pageant queen without any of the emotional baggage. Until you got fat. But ultimately, Hitomi Sakuragawa, desu, is happy being a chunky monk. Originally in the game, Hitomi's name is supposed to be changeable for maximum self-insert vibes, but honestly, I preferred named protagonists. Just like in D&D, I am not my characters. I don't like any of this silent protagonist or self-insert protagonist bull. Give me named and established characters. Like, look at this shit. I love it. Oh yeah. Now, Hitomi's self-esteem ultimately takes a fucking sucker punch when each of the game's suitors move into her family's own apartment complex, and are pretty fucking mean to her.
Where's Debbie? Behind that fat girl?
No, Dad, that's...
Is the fat girl going to lead us to Debbie?
No, that's...
She's carrying a purse. She must have a map to Debbie in her purse.
I know this is just Japan being Japan and assumes everyone has the phenotype of fucking Smeagol or a goddamn Fallout ghoul. So this land of hobbits assumes that being 200 lbs is like straight up overweight. And because she's ugly, it's justified for all these 𝓤𝓷𝓭 mutants, save for the one that acts and looks like an actual fucking child. Call her every fat joke under the sun.
Shut up, fatty fat pants! Wow, seriously, I have no idea what that's about.
We fast forward to the next day, where she decides to mimic fitness god and diet expert Booty Booty. And do you know what that means? That's right. The fast is incoming. Cause you can't be kawaii unless you're damaging your body, okay? Predictably, after starving herself, she ends up passing out and gets taken to the nurse's office where you meet the second adult love interest in this game. Now, this is where you might be asking, second? Well, who's the first? Well, that'd be your brother, of course.
Calm.
Yeah, fine. I'm cool.
God, that is super duper naughty. Okay, maybe it's a little hot, but not like for real. Ah, you dirty girl.
Please.
You know they have a word for that sort of thing. I won't say it, but it's spelled I-N-C.
Shut your whore mouth! That's enough, you hear me? Shut up!
This man right here is just in the wrong game. Like, look at him, he's got the headphones, the fucked up hair, he smoked, but I like him nonetheless. Except for the smoking indoors part. That's gross. And anybody who does that, get bonked. But in all seriousness, like, I do like him as a character. Like, he seems fine enough. He seems to really like his job. He's a club advisor for the kids. He's sort of like a counselor slash, like, school nurse type deal. He drinks in his off time. He seems to have like the general like work and student life boundary kind of set, like, hey, this is my off time, that's yours, back off. But who knows, maybe in his route he's like actually a fucking terrible human being. I don't know. I just know that like when he does pop up in other routes, I like him well enough. He seems fine. He lectures Hitomi before giving her Madeline cake and telling her to stop being a thumbo about weight loss. Hitomi happily takes the cake, and this is your first chance to start building affection points. Seeing as we're going down Kakumei Street, it doesn't matter what choice we make, as Kaede isn't going to show up until the 18th. So we got a lot of time until then to f***ing grind. In case it isn't obvious enough, 𝓤𝓷𝓭 is a stat raising game. You basically have to plan Hitomi's weekly schedule that involves both losing weight and upping her various stats along with her chosen boost affection points all throughout the course of a year. These weeks are divided up into 3 sections, the first being Monday through Wednesday, the second being Thursday through Saturday, with the final section of the week being Sunday, which allows you to earn double the amount of allowance, double the amount of stats you'd earn from setting certain subjects as for the overworld, and by extension gain access to special stock from stores you would not otherwise be able to gain access to on weekdays. This game has variety, and with the amount of options it can give you with little explanation as to what exactly everything does, your first playthroughs will be spent sort of clumsily figuring everything out, and gaining an understanding of what does what. Now, because of the lack of explanations, I thought this game was hard, but after multiple playthroughs, I realized it's really not. The stat output when doing basic activities is just low, and the game hinges on fucking around and finding out. It creates this artificial sense of difficulty as you're thrown into the deep end, but it actively rewards and encourages you to rely on items purchased within each of the overworld shops, with cute little CGs associated with each of the various tools you may find yourself relying on. So with this in mind, the first month of April should be focused on stalking your lover and earning money. The reason for this being is you're going to want 4 items, the running or rowing machine, the sauna suit, and the study items to increase stat output when doing all the school-related stat grinding. April 16th is when you're going to finally gain access to 𝓤𝓹𝓬𝓸𝓾𝓰 as a love interest, as his uncle will finally arrive and you'll have a mini chat with him. Ooh, foreshadowing! The following day is when you finally see what all the fuss is about. Now, it's important that you're losing weight in April, as by May your first event flag will kick in and you need to be around 96 pounds to trigger it. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty easy to f*** up in this game, and with 3 save slots, it's a rough deal. I'm well aware that this is probably just a space thing considering the Nintendo DS isn't a powerful system to begin with, but for any Otome games with more than 3 love interests and is also a stat raising game that inflates game time by a lot, with easily missable flags or stat thresholds the player may not be initially aware of on their first run. Please don't give me this cuck shit. In my opinion, there should be at least 5 or 10 available save slots, but ideally there shouldn't be a save slot cap at all. But I'm just saying that as an uninformed plebeian. I don't make games, I'm not part of game development, so maybe there just wasn't enough space to actually include that as a feature. What, you can quick save? If this were a regular Otome game, I'd agree, because let's be real, the routes for these dudes aren't long. We're not reading a novel or Shakespeare here. I'd be fine with the limited saves. The issue is more that this is a hybrid Otome game, so your focus is going to be mostly on all this shit. Then the silly little buttons here that are forgettably small. By April 24th, this is the first date. Thankfully, each time you visit a boy, you'll be able to see your total affection points indicated by the heart next to their name. Right now, it's blue, meaning we really gotta work for it. There are cutesy little dialogues that happen when you either go on a date or stay inside, though I will admit they get pretty repetitive. Personally, I would have preferred the dates had more varied dialogue. I think when it comes to staying inside, you get 4 repeated dialogues, and on dates, it switches between 2 repeated scenarios. In a perfect world, I would have put 4 repeated scenarios and 6 repeated dialogues just to give it some variety. By May 9th, we finally get our first event. It is pretty sweet. All the boys' first events usually just give you the gist of what trope they embody and what their deal/quirk is. This admittedly helped in selling you on 𝓤𝓹𝓬𝓸𝓾𝓰. He's the ditzy bookworm with another side to him, we'll get to this, who often gets into little shenanigans. It's sweet, it's funny, it's silly, please laugh. I liked it. Now the next big event is actually going to be near the end of June. This is where Hitomi and friends want to go on a trip for summer vacation. This is the game's second event flag for your husband of choice. Each of the places are going to vary by route along with the scenarios, with a weight threshold you need to meet or else he'll outright deny you. This was my first up. I missed the weight threshold and then I had to regrind to get back to June. On June 13th is where Tokido's birthday lands, so we also have to buy him a gift, turning me into a dreaded poor. Also, signifying his boosted affection is him giving me some natural cookies. One of the reasons you want to start boosting the boy's affection early on is because they actually give useful items to help you in your weight loss or stat boosting in the early to mid game. I know I'm being a negative Nancy about this f***ing game, but I still think it's fun. I'm still having a fun time. I'm enjoying the ride, okay? I just think it suffers from some quality of life issues and can get really repetitive on subsequent playthroughs. Along with just being a frustrating time if you're like me and super forgetful. It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint kind of game. Despite all that, it does have its charms. The boys' routes are stereotypical melodramatic nonsense that I have a fondness for as a fan of shoujo. Speaking of shoujo, I love the skinny man art style of this game, okay? The big old bug eyes, the Dorito chins, it's just one big bundle of nostalgia I'm 100% down for. The UI itself is also nice to look at and fairly easy to use, which definitely helps making the experience a lot less frustrating. I also apologize in advance because I'm trying really hard not to do it, but I just have like this natural vocal fry, and like I'm not doing it I swear to God I'm not doing it consciously. It's just like I keep turning like part frog midway, and like I'm trying hard to like talk in a higher register and be like, huh, and it's not working. Like it's gonna grumble and rumble. I'm sorry. But back on topic, what are we talking about? Right, rebound events. But during the month of June, specifically on the 20th, we're gonna get a rebound event. What are rebound events? Well, during certain months, if you end up gaining about a pound or 2 of weight during your weight loss journey, small events with the boy of your choice will trigger. These aren't event flags and can be skippable, but I have reason to believe you aren't supposed to skip the first event, which serves as an introduction to the whole side event. They're all scenarios that establish Hitomi letting the boys know that she's losing weight and stopping herself from night binging after the conversation. After the initial conversation, when you do trigger a rebound event, the boys will offer Hitomi snacks, which she can refuse. That'll unlock silly little side scenarios, where Hitomi will dream of her boo as a fairy tale-like character, go through all the scenarios, and you'll even unlock a cute scene. With a little editing magic, June 1st hits once again, and we re-ask Tokido if he can go out with us. It seems like it'll be a yes until he says, but first I have to ask Tojo-san, leading to both myself and Hitomi asking, why? Claws are out when Eureka enters the scene, and both girls don't want anything to do with each other, let alone a damn vacation with one another, but cute boy talk no jutsu is super effective against these little ladies, and ultimately a truce is formed between them. Everyone gets to go to Italy. By June 26th, we get spicy chips offered to us by Tokida. It isn't until October you need to be super mindful of your weight, but keep in mind that accepting these snacks will cause you to gain weight each time. Actually, we do. By August 1st, we're finally in Italy, and this event expands on the relationship Tokida and Eureka have, hinting at something more, with the girls convinced the two are definitely dating. We end up third-wheeling them at a restaurant, and I'm not joking on this next part, but on the way, some human traffickers bust out of these vans on the street and try to kidnap Eureka. Everyone is understandably scared of their fucking minds as this is happening, until Tokida goes from like a Fred from Scooby-Doo to a Frank Farmer from Bodyguard. He just grabs this bitch like it's nothing and then beats the shit out of them. Eventually crowd forms and the bad guys disperse, leaving everyone save for Tokida shocked. Tokida will princess carry Eureka and the girls decide to head back to their hotel. The day essentially ruined. After a brief chat where Tokida apologizes for the day's events, the girls reassure him that it wasn't his fault, and even thank him for his help. You get 2 options after ruminating on Eureka and Tokida's relationship, and listen. Hitomi may be dumb, but she shouldn't be straight up autistic. So of course she's gonna acknowledge her frustrations. The girls gossip for a bit until Hitomi, being a nice and generic protagonist, notices that it's getting late. So the player is given the option to choose whether or not to stop by their room and give Eureka something to eat. Hitomi isn't bitch-made. She legit went and spent hours in some dirty river water looking for a fucking key to her man's dead brother's diary. So no, she's not gonna be too scared to visit this chick's room. Stop giving me all these limp answers. Hitomi notices Tokida and Eureka a bit too close to each other and immediately flips her shit. While Tokida's oblivious, claws are full on out with Eureka. She just wants you to get the fuck out ASAP, which she does before leaving the girl some crackers to munch on. As Hitomi is leaving and ignores my first option while wandering the woods.
At night.
Come on, Hitomi, you can't be dumb and autistic. Rise above the stereotypes. Hitomi hears a noise and then we're given another choice. Let's get murdered in the woods.
At night.
Hitomi, being a big girl, screams as the dude collides with her body. Ghouls arrives from the scene after presumably jumping from the terrace and then chases after the faceless NPC. Eureka joins and starts whining. Because he has the body of Frank Farmer, and I have the body of Chris Farley. Let's raise our expectations a little. Eventually he comes back with the girls fussing over him. Both Hitomi and her friends along with Eureka decide to end their trip early, with Hitomi salty that Eureka gets princess carried back to her room, meanwhile Hitomi has to fucking walk back by herself at night. The next day he knocks on her door to let her know that Eureka and him are leaving. Hitomi presumably leaves with them and by August 2nd she's home, but still takes the time to rest and recover by August 7th. By August 9th, Tokita returns and after some light small talk asks if anything strange has happened to Hitomi. She reassures him that nothing has happened and is happy when he admits he was concerned about her. We get the stereotypical, promise you won't put yourself in danger? This is when Hitomi is like, why were you hugging Eureka? It's none of your fucking business. He explains that he did it to calm her down. Now it's kinda obvious that there's some princess protection shit going down, but because Hitomi is some type of autistic, because, my god. The context clues are like blaring at her in bright red and blue, but she still doesn't get it, and isn't gonna get it until near the end of the route that both him and Eureka aren't anything, let alone romantic. Now the perceptive ones of the bunch may notice that the text is green. We'll get to that, but it is important you write those green words down if you want to access side content in the endgame. Back to grinding. August is pretty much the month when you're given multiple vacation days. I decided to spend them both grinding for money and losing weight so I'd have an easier time come November. Using some more editing magic, I have to redo August after missing the Sports Day Festival, regrinding my spirit and earning mad coin while losing weight. I'm ready for September 1st. On September 1st, it's when you basically have to pick an event to take part in for Sports Day. Each boy has their own event. The game lets you ask each boy what their event will be. Tokita's is Tug of War, so naturally I'll be picking that. This is the third major event flag and something you can't miss. Make sure by September 22nd you have at least 21 in spirit or else the event won't trigger. For the uninformed, if you don't want to invest in the facial massager that's available in the equipment shop on weekends, then you can easily drop 10k to lose weight and up a variety of your beauty stats. If your affection's high enough, the boy of your choice will even start to visit Hitomi on weekends to ask her out on dates. Finally giving some payoffs to the T-spam. This is also the same date with cell phone is unlocked. The cell phone is just side content where the boys remark on various things. I like it. Adds a bit of some life to the game, though I wish there were more and different ways to unlock special ones. On September 16th, by the end of the day, due to spamming the allowance activity, Hitomi's parents will gift her an invincible suit, which is just a better sauna suit. Sports Day finally arrives on the 22nd. Now because Hitomi is FAT, she has secret Hulk strength that'll help the team win. Eureka arrives to be a bitch, and Tokita is there to be her cheerleader. During the tug of war, both Eureka and Hitomi will get injured, whereas Giga Stacy Eureka convinces Kaede to take her to the infirmary. Poor Becky Hitomi has to go to the classroom alone where she rests after cleaning her wound. There, Tokita finds Hitomi by herself and wraps a handkerchief around her elbow. It's cute, I like it. The next day, Tokita ends up complimenting Hitomi's weight loss in the weirdest and most awkward way possible. End of the month update, where we finally reached pink affection and okay status, so we're doing good, we're doing great. Fast forwarding to October 24th, Hitomi is pondering the relationship between Tokita and Eureka when she awkwardly stumbles on them mid-argument. And I'm gonna beg you, game. Please. Oh please. Stop giving me such weak responses. I'm nosy, so of course I'm gonna insert myself in this bitch's problems. After some small talk, Eureka pulls Hitomi aside to pull some alpha bitch routine on her. But I'm not pathetic enough to give a shit what anyone like Eureka thinks. If I did, I'd probably kill myself. We're in the home stretch now. With all the combined grinding, you should have most of your stats topped off with the exception of maybe weight and a few stray mental stats. Keep in mind that the next big event will be on the 20th of November. You need to be around 70 pounds for this to trigger, as there's two versions of this event. The generic one where you'll spend it with the girls and your childhood friend, or the story event. In Tokida's event, Hitomi will head to the classroom and the Flower Arrangement Club is holding their event after she's done being a techie for the drama club. Eureka's gonna try to shake you off so the two can have some alone time, but Kaede's himbo powers manage to save you from getting shafted. All three of them peruse the various booths like a swap meet, where eventually they stop at a handicraft group. Finally, Hitomi manages to get a W over Eureka. See, Tokida originally picks out a bracelet for Hitomi and she goes, "Oh my god, I love it," only for Eureka to hijack the conversation and force Tokida to buy her an accessory she picks out. The three then leave after that's done, with Hitomi deciding to enjoy the company of her friends until Tokida stops by and gives her the accessory picked out for her. We finally reached the Red Bros. Celebrate. Now, December-January is where things get weird. I've noticed that there's usually some precursor event either in December or January with the boys. Usually it's a drama event or meeting an NPC that serves to either establish or bookend the story of their route. In Tokida's case, it happens on December 11th at night, where you need to be under 70 pounds and above 60, which wasn't hard in my case. It just took a bit of juggling, as the dream event did trigger and bump me up like 4 pounds. While on our way to the store, Hitomi stumbles on Tokida beating the shit out of somebody. He's a lot different than regular old ditzy Tokida, as this one comes across as a massive sociopath and even threatens Hitomi by nearly breaking her arm off to not say shit to anybody about him beating a man to near death in the park. Once Hitomi vows her silence, he scurries off into the night. Hitomi is physically shaken, but chooses to have faith in Tokida, that his ditzy self and the sociopath she met today are two sides of the same coin. By December 25th, you do need to be under 65 pounds to fit in the dress he'll give you. So Tokida, being the oblivious himbo he is, decides to take Hitomi to her arch nemesis' Christmas party. Once they get there, it's another L from Hitomi, as Eureka just shits on her. After a long while of waiting, she goes out to look for Tokida. That's when she overhears Eureka talking about a contract and is still like, "What does it mean? I don't get it. What's going on?" Roland, the fortune teller you met in the early game, and Tokida's uncle, just sneaks on you. My man got a nat 20 in stealth and is like, "Do you care about Tokida?" "Yes, I do." "Then thou shalt pass." He drags Eureka away from the scene so that Hitomi and Tokida can be alone. Now, I know this is supposed to be like a sad or emotional scene because the fucking piano from The Incredible Hulk is playing. And I would feel sad if the scene just wasn't really stupid. See, up to this point, for whatever godforsaken reason, the writers decided that Hitomi isn't going to put 2 and 2 together. So, because she hasn't realized that Tokida is some sort of like bodyguard assassin thing, she's just kinda yelling at him to grow a sense of morality with no context, and Tokida going, no. Conceptually, I think it's a good and interesting idea and shakes things up a bit. But the problem is that the writing in this game is really simplistic, and because of that, it bogs a lot of the more emotional scenes down. Hitomi and Tokida are kind of just saying words to each other rather than having a genuine dialogue. Hitomi wants Tokida to understand her moral issue with what he's doing, while Tokida doesn't really see anything morally wrong with his line of work because he's not only learned to emotionally detach himself from it, he's grown up with this sort of lifestyle. Hitomi can't properly engage with Tokida because, again, she just doesn't have the proper context to really frame it with, and obviously Tokida can't really talk about his line of work, can't confirm or deny it, so he's just shutting her down by going, "Sorry, can't talk about that." Then we have to awkwardly segue into them giving each other gifts, until it just sort of ends with Eureka dragging Tokida with her because she's an NPC in Ren's route and will be the reason Hitomi gets her expensive gift ruined in that route. It's just bad. It's not great. Tokida doesn't get a New Year's event. Gameplay wise, I'm pretty much set in my stats. It's just weight loss at this point, which won't be too hard to achieve since you're given both January and February to get some extra grinding in. Roland and Tokita stop by on January 7th to wish both Hitomi and Oni-chan a happy new year. It's a cute little scene where Roland uses what he calls runic divination, where he not so subtly ships Tokita and Hitomi together. Then he reads Tokita's fortune, where he foreshadows something we already figured. January 5th is the big school trip. This is the event flag that'll let you know if you're ending in romance or the generic single Pringle route. The romance route will typically involve Hitomi thinking about her boy in some way. In Tokita's case, Hitomi is lamenting that she doesn't know how to make a relationship work with her sociopathic husbando, and realizes that Tokita doesn't really emote much. She's panicking so much about the kind of relationship she wants with Tokita and the kind of man she wants him to be that Hitomi on the outside is babbling to herself out loud and subconsciously stress eating. We then get to the slopes, where in another alpha bitch move, Eureka tells Tokita to ditch Hitomi so that they can have fun skiing alone. Now, Hitomi doesn't actually know how to ski, so she nearly busts her head open after not knowing how to slow down properly. Luckily, Tokita managed to pull his ninja save, and in the time Hitomi closed her eyes to brace for impact, he pretty much knocked her ass to the ground. That's when Eureka huffs and puffs on the scene while reading. Tokita, in the meantime, is busy having an existential crisis. And Hitomi is just uncomfortable. Once she heads back to her room, the two amigos suggest Hitomi goes and talks to Tokita if he's causing her so much stress. She does, and the two meet dramatically
At night.
in the cold at the top of a mountain, where Hitomi thanks him only for him to learn that he is a bodyguard. We then get a, I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but spending all this time with you is changing me, Hitomi. You taught me how to feel. Did she though? Like, no, really. All we did was talk about signposts, you fucker. End of the month update. We are in January and we're in great tier. We've met all the stats. Life's great. Life's good. By February 14th, you were then given the option to give a guy of your choice some Valentine's Day chocolate, but Eureka's out here using my foolproof advice against Hitomi, gatekeeping this man and making sure he doesn't see her as a creep. Hitomi can't recover from this. Until she finds him on the rooftop, where Hitomi gets an accidental W. Tokita friendzones Eureka hard, and she takes the L, then leaves. But like an NPC for Metal Gear Solid, Tokita finds Hitomi and is like, "What are you doing, buddy? Sneaking around?" Hitomi gives him her chocolate, and the scene ends with Tokita just ruminating on his own feelings, being even more of a giga autist than Hitomi. The game officially ends on March 14th, which in the land of the rising sun equals White Day. Tokita has to leave early and can't attend White Day / graduation, so Hitomi agrees to meet him at the apartment complex to speak with him. Roland then pops up and decides to steal the plot device from Eureka. He suggests Hitomi hire her husbando as her bodyguard. Say that 5 times really fast. Oh, but you're poor and weak, Hitomi. Can you really handle this lifestyle? Tokita soon steps in, and after a mini dick measuring contest, Roland just goes, "Okay. Have fun, you kooky kids. Peace." Hitomi and Kaede then go to his room to have a private conversation, gives Hitomi a watch as a thanks for the chocolate. Tokita then reveals his feelings and desire to protect Hitomi from any and all danger, asking her to take him in as her bodyguard. We then get a zoomed in kiss CG. End credits roll, and we're soon met with this. See, remember the words in green? You needed to remember those in order to input it into this, where using the DS touchpad, you basically have to write the keywords down letter by letter. The words of this week for Tokita are Italy, Switch, and Control. Once those special green words are input, you'll unlock a post-game scenario with the man of your choice. It's sweet, me like. And look, the cut is there. Overall, I'd give 𝓔𝓷𝓭 a C. I'd recommend it to those who like early to mid 2000s shoujo. If you're the type who wants a deep, well-written story, I don't recommend this fucking game to you. I don't recommend this game to you. If you're someone who doesn't mind reading a guilty pleasure trope fest with writing that's clunky, with some outdated and to some problematic joke / trope, but still has some charm and heart to it, along with just not hating stat raising games, then pick up 𝓔𝓷𝓭. It's far from a perfect game, but it's still one I had a pleasant time with and find myself occasionally coming back to time and time again.